We had a senior chaplain as well, so that's now a problem. We just have one female on the senior position. So today I'm not in Cologne, and it's not good to be not there, because this is the second installation of our female senior chaplain. So we have about 15% in our chaplaincy are females. So it's proportional to the number of females inside the military at all in Protestant chaplaincy, and it's good to have them, and because they have a different approach, and that's good to have different approaches. So we have gay chaplains as well. Not transgender. We will see whether we can do it. We just have it's just 1 year ago that our synods accept transgender and intersexual relationships. So it needs some time to do this in that way. The second question concerning domestic violence. Yeah. Of course, we are against it, and if a soldier come to us and said, I see some problems inside, we will deal with this problem. Of course, can't happen. It's impossible, and you have to actually you have to punish the people who do domestic violence.
In prevention, what about your prevention role? Is it part of the messages, for example, that you give the prevention of domestic violence?
You also said the deployment, right? That people might get aware that maybe returning from a deployment might even they will want to react with the violence levels.
Okay,
also in active duty.
Yeah, we have a special program in our chaplaincy when the soldiers come back and have a very deep problem, mental problem. We have special programs to cover these problems. And even we have published a book for children that they understand the problem of their mother or father if he has a huge problem. So then they are able to speak about their problems inside the family.
I'll start with the domestic violence question. Yes, we do have various incentives or various, how can I put it, various ways that we prevent or try to prevent domestic violence, whether it's towards a man or a woman or the LGBTI community. This is done by a process of annual training, and also when soldiers sail as airmen often go off to Iraq, Afghanistan, or any other deployment that they go to, we often have a period of what we call decompression, which is a week of in-house where you've been away from alcohol, which is the social lubricant of any armed forces, as everybody knows, and you've been away from the drug of alcohol for 6, 7 months, 8 months, and then all of a sudden you're let loose into the big wide world, and all of a sudden you have a couple of drinks, and then all of a sudden you're drunk. People don't want to listen. Your wife or your partner doesn't want to listen. So the instant reaction is to lash out. In some cases, when it's totally wrong. The forces do understand that it's a problem because the high intensity of the operations that we face to this day. But again, there's only so much that you can say. It's not a military problem. It's a social problem, because if you were to compare the armed forces domestic violence numbers with the outside of the military, it would be the same, or maybe even outside would be even higher, because of way that the military works, you just have to keep on reminding. And again, the different pressures and also the moral injuries, as you mentioned, the moral injuries and also the mental health issues that soldiers and sailors and airmen often face were often swept under the carpet. Now we're actually having a conversation in the UK about mental health, thanks to the help of Prince William and Prince Harry in talking about the mental health issues that we face. And just quickly, with working with women in there is a female chaplain within the armed forces. There's many in Christian faith, but the Sikh chaplain is also a female. There's no constraints on a female chaplain on any religion that I can think of. But for the time being, we have for the other world faiths, they are mostly men, and the Sikh chaplain is a female.
Thank you, Ahmed. The Minister of Defense in the Netherlands is a female. I think that's very important. Like in Spain and in Germany. So I think they get a better position again, but there's a lot of work to do. I think the position of women is very, very important. But it's also to the debate about inclusion. I think it's broader than that. For example, my service, I told you I have 38 people working for the Humanist Chaplaincy, 20 are women. And I think we have to give a good example as chaplains. I think the position of women in the Dutch Armed Forces is also new, because this year we started at the Royal Dutch Marines. Now female can be a part of it, but it's a very heavy training, but it's open for female, and it's also on submarines. But they have to build new submarines for toilets and bathrooms. So, but I think women get a more normal position. And to your question about domestic violence, I agree with what Ahmed said, and I recognize decompression is very, very important. As a chaplain, I wrote several books to educate families what's happening when you go on a mission. Most people haven't heard about the process. There are different phases in your mission. And the last thing what I did, I also made an app on your telephone. As a chaplain, I made an app, so you get some advice, but also you can call a number for help. And I think for younger people, because there are a lot of difficulties in relationships between military, I think we have to look for smarter, slimmer, that you can reach a younger generation. So social media, like developing an app, is one of the things that I did, and I think that's very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's time, unfortunately, to conclude. But before saying a few words of conclusion, I would like you to maybe conclude with 1 or 2 sentences, just to tell us now what you think we should think about, some recommendation in addition to what Eva said before, or just one thing you would like us to think about. Thank you.
Military chaplaincy is touchstone of state-church relationship. And as we can see here on this panel, the relationship between